23. Get your skinny avatars and fat wallets. Recession proof challenge. This is going to be an awesome day. This is the best way to end our series. We've got Bob Berg here. He is the master. He wrote the book, Endless Referrals. He's got all the answers. We're only got a limited amount of time, but I'm going to get as many of them as we can so that we can all go out there and become recession proof. So, Bob, just real quick, a lot of people don't know who you are. I don't know why. They should be go-givers. That's a hint for you guys. Later on, we'll talk about that. Tell them, just give us a couple of minutes of who you are and what you do.
Just really began as a broadcaster and then morphed into sales, and sales really became a true love of mine. Enjoyed the process itself, and especially the personal development aspect. And once I began to be pretty proficient at that, worked my way up to sales manager of a company, and eventually people started asking me to come in to speak for their sales teams. And as they said on the old Seinfeld series, yada, 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 30 years later or so, here we are talking.
Hey, that just brings me up. Sometimes people always say, I hate sales. I hate being in sales. What can you give just a little motivational of why and how much fun it actually can be?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how motivational is as much as just, logically when we think of selling. I think when people, Stephen, say, I don't like sales, it's not that they don't like sales, it's that they don't like what they think selling is. Because the reputation of selling is that it's trying to convince someone to buy something they don't want or need. And of course, we know that's not selling. That's called being a con artist. And that's not what most people, most people are pretty good people and they believe in what they sell and they don't want to feel as though they have to have that yucky kind of, and so no. So, but if we look instead at selling, if we define it as simply discovering what the other person does need, does want, does desire, and helping them to get it, now we can look at selling from a whole different frame. The old, in Go Givers Sell More, the second book in the series, John David Mann and I, and this was him finding this out because he's such a great wordsmith, that the old English root of the word sell was selan, which meant to give. So when you're selling, you're really giving. Now, someone might say, well, wait a second, Berg, isn't that just semantics? What do you mean when you're selling, you're giving? What are you giving? Well, let's think about that. When you have someone in front of you, a prospective customer or client, you are selling. What are you giving? You're giving that person time, attention, counsel, education, empathy, and ultimately immense value. So when we see sales from that foundational premise, now it's a very rewarding.
We could end right now. I mean, that's amazing. I love, that's one of the best. I asked that question quite a bit, and that's one of the best answers I've gotten
Thank you.
over time. So, but we can't, because I promised them I was going to take all your secrets and give them to you. So we got to. So the first question that was asked is, hey, I've got a brick and mortar. Is there a difference between brick and mortar and doing on Zoom all the time and stuff like that the kids are and everybody's doing? I'm not a kid and I'm doing it. We're doing it. So.
Well, the book was written in a bricks and mortar world. Even the book you were kind enough to mention was last published. It was in 3 editions. The last one was in 2005. So that was before the internet really became prevalent, social media and so forth. Here's what it really comes down to. And I say this as sort of the foundational premise in Endless Referrals, and that is that all things being equal, people will do business with and refer business to those people they know, like, and trust. It's not that they do business with and refer business to those computers they know, like, and trust. It's all about the human beings, and it's all about the relationships. And the best way, whether you're in a bricks and mortars environment or an online environment or both, because it's not necessarily an either or at this place and time. It's still a matter of when we talk about that know, like, and trust, the fastest, the best, the most effective way to elicit those know, like, and trust feelings toward you from others is to genuinely move from an I focus or me focus to an other focus, looking for ways to, as Sam, one of the mentors and the Go-Giver, advised Joe, the protege, to make your win all about the other person's win. Now, of course, there's nothing self-sacrificial about this. We're not talking about being a doormat or a martyr or doormat, martyr, self-sacrificial, nothing like that. It's just that happens to be the best way to have a business that not only feels good to have, but is absolutely the most profitable business you can have. Remember, nobody is going to buy from you because you have a quota to meet. Right? They're not going to buy from you because you need the money, and they're not even going to buy from you just because you're a nice person. They're going to buy from you because they believe they will be better off by doing so than by not doing so. The same holds whether it's bricks and mortar or whether it's online and on Zoom. So I love the question that your member asked.
You have a lot of reasons why I like you, but I'm going to zero in on one, because I see it all the time and it just irks the heck out. As a matter of fact, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who's actually helping build millionaires that want to help build millionaires. And we were talking about transaction versus relationship. And all the stuff that you see on advertisement is, get my program and I'll give you 50 leads a day or a month or whatever, right? And I'm not saying it doesn't work, but I am saying that that's not a raving fan that's coming to you, and they're not going to get any referrals. And that's just a short-sighted way of maybe getting more people. But if we're creatures of community, 20,000 years ago, we were a tribe, more than we are, unfortunately, right now, in my opinion. But we had to work together to become, to live. Mm-hmm. And so we built that relationship and everything. And I groom my wife. I do her hair. She likes purple hair. I do her hair. But if you look in the animal kingdom, grooming, they're grooming, right? That's a natural thing, right? And so the relationship, making a relationship, I'll just stop right there. Give me your thoughts on that.
Well, you'll basically always take a relationship over a transaction. Within relationships, there'll be lots of transactions, but if you're focused on the transaction, there'll be very few of them. There'll be a transaction. And again, you can, and as you alluded to, by being transactional in what you're doing, it doesn't mean you can't make some sales. You can, okay? But it's very hard to sustain, right? Yeah. And again, there's people who do it and you can, but when you're more relationship focused, you find that you're creating what we call that benevolent context for your success.
So, my area, that my flagship is avatar training, and I talk about getting skinny. That's the whole thing: get skinny avatars and fat wallets, right? And we narrow it down to the ridiculous. But I believe, and I know you do, that the narrower your avatar, the more specific that you do, the more people look and value you, right? You're not a general practitioner, And so, and I think this will lead into that. Getting referrals. A lot of the people are talking about, okay, you're getting the referrals. Well, and I believe that people give referrals, and I have a little different twist on people they know, like, and respect. They trust also, but they also respect them, right? It's just a little semantics. But talk to us about, I know you have I know in the book there's stuff there, so, because I've read it. But some people haven't, they should. But go ahead and give them a few tidbits of referrals. And we all know why we need referrals, and we all know that's, if you're successful, that's where you get most of your business. But give them a little bit of insight on referrals and how or why. And
yeah, I mean, I think people intuitively know, if you're in sales, that referrals are a good thing. Sure. And we'd all like to have them. I think there are many benefits of working with referral-based prospects. I think there's 4 that kind of stand out above all others. One is that with referred prospects, it's simply easier to set the appointment because you're going in on borrowed influence. So if you look at this, big rainbow stretching across the sky, they say, at the end of that rainbow is that pot of gold. That pot of gold is where the people are who want to do business with you. They need what you have to offer. They want what you have to offer. They can afford what you have to offer. Well, when through a referral, you kind of go over that rainbow and drop right into that prospect's office or their home, as opposed to doing all the grunt work that often needs to be done. That's very legitimate, but at the same time is very time consuming And, you're going through a whole lot of no's to get there, right? So that referral gets you over the rainbow to that pot of gold very, very quickly. Again, that's borrowed influence. The second benefit of a referred prospect, Stephen, is that it's with a referred prospect, price is less of an issue. Now, that doesn't mean it's not an issue or a non-issue, but it's less of an issue because, again, you're going in on borrowed influence, borrowed trust, as you said, borrowed respect. And so you can sell on high value rather than low price. When you sell on price, you're a commodity. Sell on value, you're a resource. And so that referral allows you that in order to be able to do that much, much quicker. The third benefit of a referred prospect, it's simply easier to complete the sale. Why? Well, this is borrowed trust, or what we call vicarious experience. So no, this referred prospect has never done business with you before, but someone who they know, like, and trust and respect has said, this is the person, this is the only person you need to see. They're going to take great care of you. They have a great product or service. They back up what they do. They're there for you. They have your best interest at heart. And, that makes it so much easier for that sale to take place. And then I think the fourth benefit is that referred prospects are already of the mindset that that's how you do business because that's how they met you. So in their world, in their paradigm, they see you as a referral-based sales professional or entrepreneur who meets their prospects through referral, who sells on high value rather than low price, who completes the sale and is then referred to others, so long as you do so long as you ask effectively. If we're going to look at that and look at asking for referrals, what I like to do is a sort of a two-pronged approach. So one is to attain their buy-in for giving referrals. Sometimes it's difficult for people to go right from the presentation, okay, to asking for referrals. It doesn't have to be difficult, and it isn't after a while, but at first maybe it is. So I've created what we call the referral bridge, or the bridge phrase. What is a bridge? Well, in the physical world, a bridge is a structure that transports a person from one safe piece of land to another. In the referral world, a bridge is a statement or phrase that transports the person from one safe piece of land where there's the know, like, and trust relationship to another safe piece of land, that place where they can ask for referrals in such a way that both the salesperson and the now referral source are both very comfortable. So the referral bridge sounds like this, and you won't say it exactly as I'm saying. You'll have your own style and your own way, but here's basically, if I can share it, right, exactly, and then I'll kind of go back and explain why it's effective. So it could be something as simple as, Dave or Mary, I'm in the process of expanding my referral business, and I find it's helpful to partner with my clients and friends such as you. Can we take a few quick minutes and run past the names of some other people I might also be able to help? Now, so the first part of it where we say, I'm in the process of expanding my referral business, or if you already are successful with the referrals right now, you might say, as more and more of my business is through referrals and introductions. Either way you say that, what you're doing is you're letting this person know what to expect next. So again, I'm in the process of expanding my referral business, or as more and more of my business is now through referrals, and you could say, and introductions. And then the next part is, I find it helpful to partner with my clients and friends such as you. Helpful shows, that's helpful. It's not necessary. It's not, but it's helpful to partner. Partner is a key word because you're giving them buy-in. You're making them part. You're giving them ownership in this. Okay. My clients and friends. And now here's the key part of the phrase. Can we take a few quick minutes and run past the names of? Now, this is what I call fast language or quick language. You're not saying it fast. You're not saying it quickly, but the words you're using imply that you're not going to take up a lot of their valuable time. So if you listen to these fast words or quick words, can we take a few quick minutes and run past? And then the names of some other people I might also be able to help. Notice I said might also be able to help. I didn't say definitely. Well, why? Aren't I confident that I can help? Sure. But we always want to make sure that other person feels very comfortable. And what this does is what I call the out or the back door, shares with them, it communicates to them that they never have to worry that we're going to come on too strong or inappropriately. We know that not everybody's going to be interested, and that's okay, right? So again, it would be however you want to start it. It could be as more and more of my business is now through referrals and introductions, I find it's helpful to partner with my clients and friends such as you. Can we take a few quick minutes and run past the names of some other people I might also be able to help? Now, assuming that you have their buy-in, they say, sure, that's fine. Now, they may reflexively say, well, I don't know if I, know anybody, or I don't know. What we want to do at that point is just don't react, just respond by letting them finish what they're going to say. Don't interrupt. Don't in any way make them feel defensive. Don't you be defensive. Let them say that. You pause for a moment and you say, that's okay. I'm actually going to give you a couple of very quick, easy ways to identify some people who really might benefit from this. And if we can think of a couple people, great. If not, that's okay too. We can always revisit at a later time. Again, that's the out or back door. We're just making it so they don't feel uncomfortable or pressured. Okay. So now we're going to go into the actual asking part. And this is key. And I actually learned this part from Tom Hopkins when I read his book 40 years ago, How to Master the Art of Selling. He dedicated only half a page to this, and it was such a brilliance. It's been worth.
See right down there? Do you see that right down there? Where I'm pointing? That is Tom Hopkins. That's a VH.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Tom's one of my heroes, and he's such a great guy, and just he's done so much for the selling profession over the years, certainly an icon, And so, what? So here's the thing. When most people ask for referrals, and I did the same thing before I read Tom's book, right? When I first started, they'll say, hey, who do you know, or do you know anybody who, and what happens is a lot of times the referral source, they want to help, right? They want both you, but also the people who they'll be helping. Obviously they believe in the product or service. They believe in you, but say, do you know anybody who do you know who? Well, I can't think of anybody right now, but when I do, I'll let you know, or I'll call. Now, do they ever let you know or call? And not really. I mean, that could it ever happen? Sure, but we don't want to base a career on that, right? And as Tom explained, it's not their fault. What we've done when we've said anybody, or do you know anybody, or who do you know, we've given them too big a range, because remember, most of us know about 250, 300 people indirectly or directly, what have you, right? So when we say, do you know anybody, or who do you know? Well, a collage of 250, 300 people go dancing past their head, but they can't identify anyone, right? But they're really trying to think. And you know how the memory works. You try, the harder you try them, right? And then they get discouraged, and well, I'll let you know, right? So let's use Tom's advice to gently funnel down their world into small groups of people they can easily identify. So let's say our referral source right here is Dave, okay? And we know Dave is an avid golfer. And so we might say, Dave, I know you golf a lot. He says, oh, yeah, I love it. I'm out there every Sunday afternoon. And well, Dave, do you golf with different people every time, or the same force? He goes, oh, same people. We've been playing together for years. There's Harry Brown, Dr. Mary Ruart, Michael Cloud, the four of us. We have been golfing buddies for years. Boom. He's now identified 3 people. So now we can say, and this again would depend on the type of product or service, but do you feel Harry or Dr. Mary or Michael would be interested in, or would be open to, or, however that would be. Yep. Now, maybe all of them, maybe none of them, maybe one of them, but it doesn't matter. What you've done is you've created the environment for him to be successful in coming up with names. He now knows he can do that he can come up with people. So now we move to the next, part. We know he's on the, we know he's a member of his, I don't know, just local Rotary club or something. Okay. And so we don't ask, who do you know in Rotary? Because it could be a big Rotary club. And now you have that same problem. Instead is there anybody in your club who you're particularly good friends with? Maybe you sit next to every time, and he comes up with 2 names. Okay. So now we ask that. Now let's go to one more frame. We know he's on the board of directors. He's the chair of the board of directors of his local animal rescue shelter. Okay. So we say, Dave, how many people sit on the board with you? He goes, well, there's myself, I'm the chair, and there are 5 other people. Well, 5's a pretty good number. So we say, Dave, picture those 5 individually. which of them, if any, because again, we want to go with the out or back door, if any, do you feel might be, and then again, interested in, open to, has a need for, again, depending upon what we sell. And now, so what it really is, Stephen, is the first time he comes up with a name in that group, with those that we've done so far, and it might be from the first one, could be the second one. Now it gets easy. Because once he comes up with a name, now it's like it starts to trickle out and stream out and flood, and he can come up with a bunch of names, and one person's going to remind him of someone else and someone else. We can also use lots of other frames, who they go to religious services with, but again, it's who they're friends with, who they sit next to, that, or maybe if they're a sports person and they have season tickets of the game, who do they go with, sit next to? It could be their neighbor. We could run depending upon, again, what your product or service is, we could run the alphabet, who is their accountant, or B, banker, C, chiropractor, D, dentist, E, electric, what have you. So this is sort of an overview of just the referral process in terms of asking correctly.
Man, that's great. Got 2 questions left. Service, product, price, and marketing. Nothing's more important, in my opinion, than marketing. McDonald's has proven it. They don't have the greatest service. They don't have the greatest product. They have a pretty good price, but there's cheaper out there, right? But their marketing is proof. They've sold more hamburgers than the best hamburger joint in the world. We don't even know who they are. So what can you give it? We kind of breached on that. One of the best marketing courses, referrals. So, but going off of that, what can help these people out become recession proof by what type of marketing would you like to go ahead and just talk about?
Well, I think marketing kind of it encompasses a whole bunch of different areas. And I think that, I think marketing, can attract a lot of people to you. And then it's the selling, which is what makes it happen. Right.
Yep.
But yeah, marketing is important. And so whether you're doing, whether you have the hundreds of millions of dollars to do campaigns as they have, or whether your marketing is deciding that you're going to put out content and you're going to find a way to put content out in certain places that's going to attract people to, some type of, whether it's a free report or a video or some other type of value where they can get to kind of know, like, and trust. And again, as you say, respect you little by little, even before doing business with you, where you can get them to raise their hand as someone who might be later on down the line or right away, because you never know with marketing, yeah. Right? Sometimes you track people that are ready right away and others that go into sort of that funnel, if you will, where, they come out a month later, 2 months later, 6 months later, you don't know. So I think you market in a way that is congruent first with your own values, with your own style, but also in the way that your best prospects are going to be most attracted to it.
Right. Last question is going to be a hard one for you. And I'm sorry I have to throw this fastball. I'm the closer on this one.
I'll try my best to hit that fastball.
All right. I hate to do this to you, but why should somebody read the Go Giver series?
Why should they read the Go Giver series?
How could that help them possibly in getting more clients?
I think a lot of people who read it probably already know what's in there in terms of there's nothing new about it, I don't think. And when the first book came out, people were, because it kind of took off fast. And when I'd be interviewed, they'd say, well, what is it in this book that you and John have done that's anything different? And the answer was always nothing. There's nothing new. Jim Rohn used to say, beware the person who offers new fundamentals, right? It's like new antiques. I think what John and I did is we shared the message in a way that was very relatable to people.
Yes,
right.
Extremely.
And it was something that people wanted to be able to do. Again, as we talked about earlier, most people are good, decent people. They have a product or service they believe in. They know it brings value to others. They want to be able to focus on that other person and also know that they can create that environment to make an excellent living. And the Go Giver basically said that. It said shifting your focus, basically the premise of the Go Giver series is shifting your focus from getting to giving. Giving in this context simply meaning constantly and consistently providing immense value to others is not only a more pleasant way of conducting business because it's congruent with your values, right? It's also the most financially profitable. So I think people who read either the first book or all the books in the series, they're gonna find that message probably congruent with how they want to do business.
Well, yeah, that was an okay answer. But I'm going to give a better one. All right. At least in my world. All right.
Oh.
So, I've been doing this for a pretty long time, over 30 years, been mentoring. And my wife, has never really read books, and she doesn't until recently, and never really wanted to go to workshops and things like that. And I got her to read that, and I didn't have to ask her to read the second one, the third one.
Oh.
It's like our oldest son wouldn't read until Harry Potter came out, and now he reads all the time. She wouldn't read. Now first 15 minutes of every day, we're reading. Up here is more important, self-development, right? And so our friend, and here's the thing, our friend Steve Lester, was that we meet once a month, and we refer books back and forth, and that was the first book that he ever referred me to.
I love Steve.
And so it was, yeah, he's super great guy. But he kind of cheated, because then it was like, well, did you read the next one? I mean, you didn't have to refer. It was like, I'm on the next one. I'm on the next one. So, but no, you're right. No book really. I mean, there's a book. I cannot believe I can't think of. Ask. Who wrote the Ask? Oh my gosh.
Is that a Jack Canfield book or something?
No, but
do a lot of that.
Anyway, sure. But it's just asking, right? Ask, right? And things happen. But the book.
Now do you mean the Ask? The people who do the Abraham series?
No.
Esther Hicks Ask.
I don't think so. But anyway, but it's you didn't write about anything but it makes you makes you go, oh wow, I knew that, but when you tell it, and especially the story forms that you write in, that's how we learn, right? Yeah. I mean, nobody 500 years ago, what? 5% at most of the population could read. 1,000 years ago, 1%, and before that, almost nobody. We all remember through storytelling, and that's one of the reasons why I think your books are so successful. Not only do they have great content, but the story writing makes you say, "Oh yeah, I get it now," right? Or I forgot it now, I remembered it, or I didn't really think about that part, but now that makes more sense. Yeah. And so,
that's John David Mann, my co-author, John David Mann, such a fantastic story.
Yeah, you guys were
a two guy. You can tell
that was both of you, right?
For a minute, but yeah, John's just a storyteller extraordinaire.
Mark Victor Hansen, Ask.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
and so my better half just told me that she's here. But yeah, no, that was one of the turning points. And so I say that because most people don't read after high school, right? And it's a shame. Now, I will say this: I don't believe when you first start reading that you should read 52 books a year. I believe that you should read 3 or 4 books a year. You pick the ones that you need to work on, and you read, you study, and you apply. Mm-hmm. And so the Go Giver series is kind of cheats, because you can read each one of those, because they all kind of keep hitting that area in a different way, right? So you can cheat with the Go Giver series. But if you're not, I would say if somebody's not into reading your books, and I will actually go, I'll say the negative on this. I would say read the Go Giver first and fall in love with Bob's books, then read the Endless Referrals. Mm-hmm. I like that, but that's how I did it too, though. See, yeah. I read your books, and it's like, well, hell yeah, I'll read the Endless Referrals, right? I mean,
well, that's a great compliment. Thank you. That means a lot to me.
No problem. But yeah, no. But anyway, last part is yours, and then I'll close it. What if I've missed anything? If you've got a brilliant idea, if I wished I just, is there anything that you want to tell the crowd before we go?
Well, I mean, I think I go back to 40 years ago when I first started in sales, And I was it was actually a couple of years after I was in sales, and I was in a sales slump. And I remember a wise older guy said to me, he said, Berg, if you want to make a lot of money in sale, because I was really focusing on the sale instead of helping my customer, just, kind of a rookie mistake type of thing. And mine said, he said, Berg, if you want to make a lot of money in sales, he said, don't have making money as your target. Your target is serving others. Now, when you hit the target, he said, you'll get a reward, and that reward will come in the form of money, and you can do with that money whatever you choose. But never forget, the money is simply the reward for hitting the target. It isn't the target itself. Your target is serving others. And Stephen, I think that when we approach sales from that foundational premise, really we're 9 steps ahead of the game in a 10-step game.
Brilliant. Bob, I have been looking forward to this for quite a while. I will say that you did not disappoint. If somebody sends me and says, he was okay, I'm going to say, were you asleep during half of it? It was better than okay. It was everything that I was hoping for. Only thing that I'm disappointed at is that you're so busy that we only had this limited amount of time. We could spend another 2 or 3 hours getting more secrets of yours, but maybe that'll be next time. Maybe we'll get to do a round 2, right? But I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your knowledge and wisdom and your demeanor and your ability to help others grow. That's huge. Steve Jobs said it best, but what you're doing is you're denting the universe.
Wow, thank you.
So. And I appreciate that. So
thank you. Thanks for having me with you.
No problem. All right, you guys heard it. I told you I'd have the master on and that he would blow you guys away. I'm pretty sure that he delivered. So this is the last day of the Get Skinny Avatars Fat Wallets Recession Proof Challenge. You guys, you've learned. Now you got to take action. Learning doesn't create confidence. Action doesn't create confidence. Results. Right? So don't quit learning. Go out now, take action, get those results, and you'll keep going. So as I always say, good luck, of course, laboring under correct knowledge. I'm Stephen Beaver, your TMV efficiency mentor. TMV, baby. Take more vacations. That's how we spell your success. You all have a happy and successful day. Bye for now. If you don't have a charity, this is an awesome charity. Go look them up.